So I fancy myself a hobby cyclist. It's by no means my primary form of training, but I'm by no means a novice, and there are a lot of really great overlaps between cycling and rowing makes for great cross training for cycling. So let's explore that today. So cycling's an incredibly popular sport, and for good reason. You can pretty much take a bike anywhere, up a mountain, both on a road or on a trail, and you can cover quite a bit of ground when you are actually cycling, which makes for a very entertaining workout. They're also wonderfully simple machines. And you can get a great workout getting to cover distance, which in my opinion is a really strong plus for the sport of cycling. So one of the issues of cycling mostly is that it's monostructural in nature, meaning that you produce the same movement over and over and over, and you're just constantly repeating. Therein lies both the benefit and the detriment to the sport. Number one, you get to focus on one movement and you can refine it down until you get really good at the thing. The downside of that, however, is that your body becomes imbalanced to deviate towards and really iron into just that movement pattern, which creates a host of issues because the body was made to really do all sorts of different things. So the specialty, while making it a great study, is also what can lead to some problems in the body. And it's the same with rowing, because rowing is a monostructural movement. You just repeat the same thing over and over and over. So take a look at my body. After years and years of rowing and a back injury, check out this scoliosis. That happened because every single stroke I was rotating around, and my body became really defined to handle that exact movement pattern. Forward, rotate, load, drive, release, forward, rotate, so on and so forth. And that caused a serious amount of imbalance, which led to problems later on down the line. Now, asterisk on that, neither rowing nor CrossFit were the cause of my back injury. Just want to make that clear for the record. So as a coach, I'm always looking for opportunities with an athlete, like a monostructural athlete, to be able to create some kind of balance and cross training. I know that that's like playing buzzword bingo when we say cross training, but really to create some kind of balance for their body that helps to offset the constant nature of this, so that you can create a more healthy body to perform better at the sport. It's not to detract and it's not to change the training. It's to offer an alternative that helps to build the systems that don't get built by repeating this over and over and over in whatever the movement or the exercise may be, in this instance, cycling. And that's where the rower comes in. So two of the most common injuries that cyclists experience are knee pain and back pain. Why? Well, on the knee pain side, it's generally from the athlete either being too far forward, too far back on the seat, but what happens is that causes them to be overly quad dominant in the pedal stroke. When the quads get too tight, they insert at the knee. And as the saying goes, the rats never chew where they get in. So when the quad starts to tighten up from overuse, it's not in the middle of the quad where you feel the issue. It's often in the hip or the knee, and that knee pain becomes exacerbated by overuse and continued cycling. So that's one issue. Issue number two is back pain, and that happens because when we're on the bike, we tend to spend a lot of time with our spine in this position, as opposed to the natural S-curve that the back likes to see. This would be the person's facing that way. There we go. That is the natural S-curve that our back likes to carry. The problem with this position is that over prolonged time and without complementary work, all of the muscles that bring us here get tighter. All of the muscles that allow us to round get weaker and longer, and therefore as time goes on, this posture becomes harder to maintain. And that causes problems because we no longer have support of the spine. And this is where rowing can come in and help. Rowing steps in on a couple different bases. Number one, it's also low impact just like the bike. So if you're looking for training that is complementary, that is not going to increase impact on the joints, a la running or perhaps, I don't know, heavy strength work, which I am an advocate for as well. However, the point being, rowing is a low impact sport, which is in line with or in kind with cycling. Number two is that rowing does a very nice job of especially complementing this postural issue that we may find when we're on the bike, because it forces you to think about maintaining a neutral spine, which means that these guys, my erectors, have to be working to put me into position. And so when those erectors are working, they're balancing my system because I'm having to sit upright, brace, and swing. And so that is a huge balancing effect. Now finally, when we get to the legs, because of my horizontal approach, and as well because of the angle of the foot stretchers being at about 45 degrees, it necessitates that there is heel contact as well as a little bit more hamstring and glute engagement than we may naturally find on the bike. It's a little bit easier to deviate into the quads on the bike, and when we're on the machine, if we understand our mechanics and we've locked the mechanics into place, then it's going to be much easier for us to understand how to drive the heel down, engage the whole posterior chain from my gastroc all the way up to the back side of my head, right? Ensuring that posture is there, ensuring that glutes, hamstrings are working in conjunction with quads, but it does a really nice job of rounding the whole thing out. So let's take a look at two different workouts that we could program for cyclists. One would be intentionally programmed for more of a road cyclist. The other would be for a mountain biker. Let's lay out what those workouts would look like. You can give them a try and give us feedback and see what you think. So this is a road cycling workout. I took this directly from the Concept 2 website, and it's intended to mimic hill climbs with a longer duration, if you will. Now, are we going to see much longer climbs than 8 minutes on a bike? Absolutely. But this is a really great way of mimicking some hill climbs with bursts on the hill and getting and reaching some plateaus while again having to take off on another climb or another ascent. So the way that this is going to start, you'll have a 5-minute light spin up as needed. That could be on the bike if you wish, but I would suggest that it be on the machine so that you can get comfortable with the movement and prime the pump, if you will, for that day's workout. Then the workout is going to be 8 minutes at moderate intensity effort with bursts of 20 strokes at the 4 and the 7 minute mark. That's basically round 1. Think of it as a 3-round workout, or 3 climbs with 2 plateaus. 20 stroke bursts being you are ratcheting up the intensity for 20 strokes and then bringing it back down to moderate intensity. Now a note, it's very easy. Those of you that have cycled before will know this as well. It's very easy after bursts to just bog down and to get really slow in order to recover. What a real challenging effort, however, is that when you come off of a burst of 20 strokes, 10 strokes, whatever it may be, to come back to moderate intensity immediately, not dropping back down, because that negates the purpose of that burst. That burst is there to teach you how to throttle up and still be able to maintain a relative level of intensity in the middle of a workout. Now you're gonna have a 2-minute easy spin after that where you're still moving, but it's just light. Imagine this is your plateau. This is where everybody's collecting themselves, getting ready to jockey on the next climb. Next, you're gonna have 7 minutes, again, moderate intensity, 20 stroke bursts, this time at the 2, the 4, and the 6 minute mark. So you're gonna get 3 bursts this time. Notice that intensity is ratcheting up a little bit more each time, getting a little bit closer to the peak. You're gonna follow that with another 2 minutes easy, and then finally 6 minutes, same intensity, but this time 10 stroke bursts on the minute every minute for that entire 6 minutes. This should be a serious burn. Now the point being, this is an excellent workout for road cyclists in the off season, especially those of you, I mean, you could interpret this number of different ways depending on the needs, if you're a sprinter or a climber, whatever you wanted. But this is a great idea of how you can structure a workout as needed for road cycling. And now onto the mountain biking. Now, this was a design of my own, but what I had in mind here was more of an aggressive climbing with very short breaks in between. And what I'm imagining here is like some kind of trail that has a decent climb ahead of it where you get short plateaus, or maybe you get to ride a little bit of a downhill, pick right back up, followed by some serious sprints, meaning this is where you're having to really dig in, move through the track, and get your bike moving. But here's what the workout is. Just a 5 to 10 minute spin up. Again, something simple just to get you moving and grease the groove for what you're gonna be doing. Then in the workout, you're looking at a 3 by 5 minute row at a high intensity but low stroke rate. Now what I mean by that is I want you to push as hard as you can into that machine. What I'm imagining here is a low gear where you are in the saddle grinding up the hill. You're not up out of the saddle trying to churn through it. You know what's ahead and you're really trying to just stay calm and stay in the saddle. Followed with 1 minute of rest or 1 minute of easy. I don't really want it to be off. I want you to be just nice and easy, light spinning. You're gonna do that 3 times. That should get you nice and tired. Your legs should be pretty smoked. If you stay at a low stroke rate, and I'm talking, let's call it 22 or under, you're gonna feel this. Followed immediately into 6 by 20 seconds on and a minute 40 of easy spin, if you will. But that 20 seconds on is everything you've got. Take the stroke rate up, crush it on the pressure. This is going to be your finisher here. And again, this is where I'm imagining like the sprint on the bike where you're having to get up out of the saddle and you're really having to work and move and play with your bike to get it moving on the track. This is the kind of workout that I would see for a mountain biker who is trying to emulate their training, the way that they're gonna handle a course, and the racing conditions that they might find. So for cyclists, those of you who've been looking for some kind of new training, different training, something to complement what you're doing, maybe you should think about giving the rower a try, because I think there are some really legitimate opportunities to strengthen your training and your performance. So as always guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it and love all of you dark horses out there that are doing everything you can to make your life better every single day. And you know the drill. If you loved this video, make sure that you hit subscribe in the upper corner. And if you really loved it, just hit all of the feels, then I want you to make sure that you hit that little bell right next to the subscribe button, because that's gonna make sure you get alerted every time we come out with a new video on Tuesday mornings. Guys, as always, we'll see you on the other side.